Hello, figments of my imagination. Now and then, I get a little nostalgic for Cookie Clicker. If you've never heard of it, I'll link it down below so it can steal the next few hours, or days, of your life. The rest of you probably know what I'm talking about. That odd desire for something really simple, yet addictive. Seeing a little number turning into a bigger one and feeling like you've accomplished something, even though you've done nothing. After about a month, I normally get over it and move on, but during that time, I usually sample a couple dozen games, occasionally finding one that holds my interest for quite a while. Today, I want to talk about a pretty unique game that falls into that category. Legends of Idleon. Idleon is a free-to-play idle MMO, with charming pixel art and a distinctive gameplay loop that involves most of your progress being done while not actively playing the game. You start the game with a short tutorial, during which the game forces you to make a second character so they can explain the main hook. When you log off of a character, that character keeps doing whatever you were doing at a reduced speed. When you log back onto that character, you get all of the experience and loot earned while you were logged out. So you can have one character mining while another one chops trees and your third grinds its combat level. Currently, the cap is 9 characters, which gives you more than enough for a single character of each class. The gameplay when not idling is very straightforward. Combat consists of clicking on enemies to attack them and using skills when available. Gathering professions all have little mini-games you can play to boost your rewards, or the option to just idle for normal gathering, either online or off. Overall, a very simple, somewhat relaxing gameplay style. That is, until you discover what kind of optimizations are needed to progress at a reasonable rate. Idleon is what I like to call a wiki game. A game that essentially requires you to consult some sort of wiki or guide frequently to figure out what to do. Overall, this isn't a system I think is bad per se, but combined with trap perks that basically just waste your points and skill point resets being sold for cash, it starts to look a little predatory. No game is without its flaws, and when it comes to free-to-play games, those flaws typically involve credit cards. My stance on monetization in free-to-play games has always been that developers should stick to things that don't affect gameplay, such as cosmetics. Beyond that, I like to categorize non-cosmetic purchasables as either pay-to-convenience or pay-to-win. Both are bad in my view, but pay-to-win is significantly worse, especially when it incorporates RNG elements like loot boxes. Here, sadly, the dev has implemented all of those. Originally, I thought we were just dealing with pay-to-convenience, with things like inventory and storage space being purchasable with gems, the premium currency of choice. By far not my favorite system, but at the same time, I can kind of excuse it as it's not necessary for gameplay and only serves to make your life while playing a little easier. But then I got further into the game and realized more clearly what kinds of purchases were available. Things like the ability to run more dungeons every week, or keychain fragments that let you just roll for an item. There's even a collectible card system that gives pretty relevant buffs. The cards themselves are low % drops from monsters and gatherables, but of course you can just buy random card packs in the store until you get what you want. And we can't forget about the absolute peak of irony. The cosmetic items in the store also have premium stat upgrade stones that can be applied to them, making them yet another source of pay-to-win content. Now, as is normally the case, the game attempts to hide the pay-to-win nature with the standard "you can earn it all in-game" line, as gems are rewarded for certain in-game activities. But we all know that's kind of a load of crap. Most sources of gems are one-time only, and it would take thousands of hours of grinding the repeatable sources to match someone just spending $10. So we're left with an all-too-familiar problem. A fun, interesting game, marred by blatant greed. And I get it, making a game isn't easy, and when you make that game free-to-play, as you basically have to these days to compete, you need some way to make money. But there comes a point where it's just too obviously toxic to support, and I think Idleon has crossed it. So as much as I wish otherwise, no, I cannot recommend this game. This one actually hurts a little. The first few days were fun. It was a nice little side game while waiting for queues or downtime in other games, and it does kind of feel good to log on after a day or two and see all the progress your characters made without you. But I just can't support any game with this many predatory pay-to-win systems. That being said, if you still want to try it out yourself, I recommend avoiding all in-app purchases and just not taking it too seriously. You'll probably have a good time. And that's it. It always sucks to see an interesting game suffer this fate, but here we are. Speaking of horrible pay-to-win death traps, Diablo Immortal drops June 2nd, and I've heard conflicting reports on its monetization schemes, so I guess I'll have to check that out. I need a good laugh, so leave any pay-to-win nightmare stories you have in the comments, like and share and all that crap, and I'll see you all eventually.